You know, it seems almost about maybe 1 year ago I did this review and share my thoughts about Royale's episodes due to the fact they are taking a break. However, I decided to revisit that video and decided to add with 2 new episodes. Considering that Kemi vs. Nani and Zero vs. Meta Knight came out, I was thinking to revisit this series one more time. However, keep in mind, I am not including Vampire vs. Zombie, aka Vampire Batman vs. Zombie Spider-Man. That's mostly outside of the main continuity. So as such, they're mostly as bonus episodes, so I'm mostly gonna be focused on the episodes that actually came out in the main series. Now keep in mind, these are mostly my opinions. If you have your own opinions about these episodes, fine. There are mostly my opinions, and basically these are my thoughts about these episodes. With that said, let's start off with this one. And to kick it off is Samus vs. Mega Man. Now, this is during the early stages of Battle Royale, mainly the pilot episode, episode 0. And to kick off with that is Samus vs. Mega Man, the most rivalry a bunch, mainly because both of them are from the future and definitely have much more sci-fi technology, mainly because that Samus is a fearsome bounty hunter and Mega Man is the iconic blue bomber of Nintendo. And as I watched back from the episode, it didn't live up very good. To be fair, LK64 is not a bad animator, but comparing to his other works, especially to other versus shows, including Sonic own versus show, even though it does later got deleted, at least his animations are pretty good and much for improvement, especially when he managed to let a job as well as being a part of One Man Melee's team. It's not a bad episode. I still like the idea of it. I actually like the fact that they use this matchup as a pilot. I still appreciate what they're doing. The problem is mainly is the writing and the acting. Keep in mind, these are just mostly at best the early stages of Battle Royale. And basically enough, some of the voice acting is okay at this most parts, but some are just really bad. It's a good pilot, but it's definitely a bad start for a series. Now, let's start with episode 1 of Battle Royale, the main first episode, that being White Ranger vs. Leonardo. Fun fact, this was originally gonna be in Death Battle, but due to the fact that they changed their minds, that basically now Ben Singer and the rest of the Death Battle team pretty much changed it to Tiger vs. Gundam Epion, which I really don't like, but I'll get to that pretty soon, and hope in the near future. But for now, we are talking about White Ranger vs. Leonardo. And what is my thoughts? Well, it's okay. I watched it back then and my different opinions about this episode has changed. I still like it, it's just okay compared to other episodes. The animator of this one is King Ike 75, and basically enough, his animation is pretty good, although it does drag a little bit, mainly the first beginning, mainly where Sub-Zero is walking through the woods. The writing is a bit better compared to pilot episode, as well as new voice actor for Rick and Fax. I actually like Leo's voice acting in this one. Although the problem to the episode is mainly it keeps slowing down. It just feels like a drag here and there, and mainly the fact it feels like we're watching about an hour until we get to the good stuff, the animation. But to be fair, it is a good first episode, and later on improved later on. It's a good way to start the series, but it has some flaws. Up next is Batman vs. Punisher, and how'd that go? Even about 3 years ago. Well, it does hold up very strong for the past 3 years, but I think I have changed my opinions about it. Mainly, it's just that it's okay. It's just okay at best, but it is the biggest flaw. But to be fair, the writing is far more better and much more improvement from Samus vs. Mega Man and White Ranger vs. Leonardo. However, I do really think there are some problems with it. Mainly the animation. Keep in mind, the animators DJ Dino and DJ Tiki are not bad. They definitely work together as well as combine their animation, so I'll give them credit. It is a very good one. The problems I have with it just feel a bit dragged out and explain way too much what happened. Mainly the fact why the heck that Punisher managed to do this or do that, or how Batman managed to spy a bullet gun. I get there are a lot of problems, mainly the animation and plot. But to be fair, the writing is not bad, and based on there are a lot of good jokes. Well, most of them at best. Mainly Chelsea's crush on Bruce Wayne. Even though he is now old, but still, it's a much improvement from White Ranger vs. Leonardo, but does have a lot of flaws. And to kick out with a new channel. Technically, this is episode 3, but based on they stay as episode 1. So I'm mostly gonna stay as episode 3, that being YouTube vs. Backward Greymon. Now keep in mind, this was an okay episode. It had no other problems as Batman vs. Punisher, but I like this episode. Especially the voice actors. Now it's Blood Rain and Jacob Tripsky. Is that right? Tripsky? Anyways, yeah, I still like the episode. Although, to be fair, the animator this time is just DJ Dino. It's far more improvement from his previous episode, especially the fact it is a good one. The problem with this episode is some of the writing and some of the jokes. The jokes time around is not that good. But I do like the writing for Mewtwo and Backward Greymon. It definitely have shown their characters as well as their personalities. Though, to be fair, I question why they chose this setting for Mewtwo. Especially the fact they are catching them somewhere at Mewtwo states where Mewtwo strikes back at best. But overall, it's a good episode. But however, it has flaws. And to be fair, the writing is pretty good, but the jokes are just bad. And based on while Mewtwo vs. Backward Greymon animation is not bad, it doesn't drag on too long. It just has some flaws with it. Yeah, I still like the episode, but it has flaws. And there is the biggest episode I hate. That being Sub-Zero vs. Kale Diamond. Now before I get to this, let me explain one thing. I am a Mortal Kombat fan. Even though I am a fan of Mortal Kombat, even I have admit there are some matchups the ton of characters of the universe can still lose to. Like say Giant Cage in Death Battle, he can still lose to Captain Falcon. I could easily say that there are some other characters that could lose to them. But today I mostly got covering Sub-Zero vs. Count Diamond. Now I do not hate this matchup, even though I hate Count Diamond. I still think this matchup is pretty good. But the problem of it is the ending. The writing of the ending. It's just, wow, they really hate that Mortal Kombat, do they? Now keep in mind, they do not hate Mortal Kombat. It's just that they had to rush the episode due to the fact either deadlines or maybe perhaps at best due to the fact that their things are trying to change, mainly because a new game as SNK coming out, as well as Sub-Zero being in Injustice 2, or I could be wrong, but still, I still really hate this episode because how much they make fun of Mortal Kombat and just mean-spirited. But to be fair, the animation is not that bad. It is animated by, well, of course, some to animators, but it's still a bad episode. But, however, this is the second worst in my opinion. It still had to be Gus vs. Wolverine. Now, I don't know if this is gonna be a tribute to one of the researchers of their team, considering that one of them have won the spot due to the fact researching both Gus and Wolverine, but who decided to make this episode? I get the art, for being their rage, but why though? You could just simply replace each of them with different opponents, like say Gus versus, I don't know, Goblin Slayer, or Wolverine versus Lobo. I don't know. There seem like better matchups than this. Hey, look, I know if with a stomp episode, it is come with good ideas. But even then, if I look back to other episodes that I complete stomp like Thor vs. Rain, at least it looks pretty cool. The animators are pretty much great, but the ending as well as the half animation seem a bit dragged out. And based on anticlimactic with the deaths. Writing not that bad in the research, but the idea I really do not like. The matchup just seems a stomp. The animators are not that bad. Well, the death it seemed anticlimactic to be, in my honest opinion. But still, I still like the episode. And also the voice actors, because, well, I had to say, Spectre Star 27 is a pretty good Wolverine. And there's the okay episode, that being Yoshi vs. Spyro, or should I state this, Yoshi and Baby Mario versus Spyro and Sparked. Though I'm mostly gonna call it Yoshi vs. Spyro because, well, let's be honest, it's just Yoshi vs. Spyro at this point. Now, to be fair, I do like the idea of it, especially the fact that I like the animation. Even though that the animator this time around is again DJ Dino, though it does feel a little bit stiff. I like there's no voice acting for Yoshi and Baby Mario because, well, in the beginning of the games, they don't need voice actors. I actually kind of like Yoshi and Baby Mario's dynamic duo, even though that Baby Mario was mostly there for plot sake, especially Sparks. However, the problems of this episode is not just the animation, it's maybe a little of the writing, especially the jokes. But I'll give them this. The writing is not that bad, it's just the jokes I don't like, and the animation is just okay. It's okay at best, but that was some of this episode. I don't like the voice acting for Spyro. Keep in mind, this was from Leopold the Brave, but it seemed a bit of a challenge. Overall, it's an okay episode, but they're not left out with a good press. And after their break, they actually came out with Cammy vs. Nanny. And what I say about this episode? Pretty good. It were a lot of waiting for this, and I still like it, because it does match some good hits. The animation is great. This came from the fact that it came from Discovery, who done the Limit Break episodes, especially Limit Break Showdown, as well as the addition of DJ Tiki and Incha Animations. I like the episode. There's a lot of passion going through there, and based on how much for standpoint. And plus, both kids, mainly Stacey and Mark, or sorry, I forgot the male's character name, her brother, but they don't fight each other this one time, so I'll give them that. Though some of the writing is questionable, and the reason I don't know why that Jim was there. I have heard pocket opinions again, but at least he just only lasts about a few seconds, or just a minute or so. I really like this episode. They show a lot of passion, introduce some new things, especially the fact that the new format of the where we show some stats, as well as introducing a new segment, that being the reel. I personally like this episode because how much they managed to improve after their break, especially after the okay but disappointing episode of Yoshi vs. Spyro, to be honest. And there's the next episode after Cammy vs. Nanny, that being Zero vs. Meta Knight. And what are my thoughts about it? It's a good episode. While it may not be as perfect like Cammy vs. Nanny, even though there's no perfect episode, I still like this episode. However, I had to say one thing though. The first part of the animation, the beginning, is just okay. To be fair, Andrew Knight Johnson had done good animation before, but I think the first scenes of it just seems rough, to be honest. The rest of it is pretty good. The writing I actually like, but the research is okay. Though I question there's a few things, mainly the black hole and etc. But these are mostly my opinions. The episode is great, based on the great voice acting, though my problem with this is that Meta Knight's voice actor, I guess in some cases it's supposed to be like similar to a Spanish voice actor, a Meta Knight back in Kirby Break by Getcha, but it doesn't work. I mostly prefer the dark voice Meta Knight instead of the Spanish Meta Knight, even, even though I think they know how silly it is, so I guess I'll get credit for that, but I really think they should have gone towards the dark voice one. Overall, this episode is good, and based on we know how like can't embrace any, but it's good. Well, I had to say this, Battle Royale definitely improved from the break. Well, the first few beginning episodes is not that bad, but it has some flaws, and I'm glad they made some improvements with Carry vs 90 and Zero vs Meta Knight. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this revisit edition of my thoughts about this series, and hopefully more episodes to come later on this year, or next year at least. Until then, I'm Dustin24, and I'll see you guys later. Peace guys, see ya.